Many years ago, there was an engine who worked on a faraway railway. He was never given a name, or should I say, never lived long enough to be given a name. You see, all engines, when they were built, are friendly and hard-working. But once in a while, engines come out bad, and I'm sorry to say that this engine came out very bad indeed. No one knows how he came to be built, or what led him to do the things that he did, but he left a path of destruction that haunts his controller to this very day. The engine thought himself to be a premier engine from a famous lineage, but he was actually an experimental engine, using only parts from other steam engines. The parts didn't fit very well together, and it made him mean-spirited and somewhat unhinged. He was painted blue, but probably should have been painted black. It was not uncommon for the engine to insult the others and resorted to light sabotage, such as bumping them without warning and misplacing trains over small, petty squabbles. He was also easy to anger and had outfits of rage, taking it on in small little trucks, and sometimes engines smaller than he was. One day, he bumped up to one of these smaller engines and pushed him to the edge of the turntable, while threatening him to knock him into it if he didn't cater to his every whim. The bigger engines were furious and confronted him about his awful behavior. "Stop bullying other engines smaller than you," they would say. But he wouldn't listen. He continued to play spiteful tricks and threatened that if the bigger engines ever told the controller about it, he'd make them pay. The two big engines, thoroughly fed up, got up one very early morning and met with the controller at the station. They told him all about what the engine had done, but the controller's hands were tied since the engine was on loan. "I can't do anything but put in a report to this engine's company." Well, one of the bigger engines left to take a train, and with the other remaining at the big station, trying desperately to plead their case. It is said that the bigger engine was passing through the yard at the time and saw the big engine. Needless to say, he was instantly suspicious. He confronted the big engine in the yard and said, "I told you not to tell anyone. You'll get yours." The big engine just laughed, believing the engine was only bluffing. He most certainly assured he was not bluffing. The next day, the big engine was pulling the express through the junction. When suddenly, and without warning, another engine careered into the back of his coaches. There was this awful noise as wood and metal and stone splintered everywhere. what was worse was the noise of the wreck subsided, and the screams of the passengers inside those coaches became louder and louder and louder. The big engine screamed, "You've killed my passengers! You've killed my passengers!" But the big engine didn't care. He just thought it was funny, and he laughed out maniacally. The controller came, and seeing the mess, sent the engine from scrap. If the controller had only just listened to the bigger engines, those lies in the coaches may have been saved.